action. Especially with what happened on the Capitol and how it's being blamed on social media. Well, not wrongly blamed, because people went under the radar to plan this like awful attack on democracy that ended with 5 people dead, and just the U.S. being on the world stage as like a total joke and like very embarrassing. I think it's important that we recap some of the good things that have come from social media. So yeah,
Definitely.
especially through the pandemic, especially in those very first few months, me personally, like there was a lot of fun to be had on social media, mixed in with of course, like very tragic things happening in the world.
Yeah.
But as we became more isolated, more people got on social media. We were like using it like all day long, and people are like very, very funny. And I think that's something that our generation like appreciates more than maybe older generations, because they didn't have social media where you're following like 300 like hilarious people all the time. One thing that I loved in the first few months of the pandemic was, I'm not a huge fan of Barstool Sports, but one guy, Barstool Big Cat, he, since sports shut down and his job was to like talk and report on sports and like joke about that stuff, he bought a little plastic racehorse track, and he would live stream every single night with these like 4 plastic horses. It was like magnetic, and they'd go around and around and around, and it was so janky, like they would fall off all the time. But uh, he would like announce it like he was a sportscaster, and like just with all this excitement, you could see everyone commenting like they want this horse to win, this horse to win. It was just like really, it was a good thing to look forward to every night. I think
like, yeah, as well, because like in like lockdown, it all like the little things like kind of lifted everyone's spirits a lot, and I feel like that's quite a good example of it happening, especially in the UK. There was such a rise in TikTok users, like through lockdown, like the first lockdown, and like everyone was like learning all these dances. Everyone was sending all of like these hilarious videos to each other,
yeah,
and it was just like lifting everyone's spirits quite a lot. And I think that like TikTok's really like done a lot this
yeah,
year for people's like
yeah,
yeah, like happiness, I guess. And like gave us something to laugh at at least, or like
yeah, exactly. It was like an escape from like the hilarity of like how insane the world was. Like it was just equally matched in like comedy, and like I know like 30-year-olds who like got on TikTok, and like it was ridiculous, but like they had a great time. And like this little derby that he did, it was just like, and every week you could see him getting like a little more insane from the quarantine each time, which like just made it even funnier, because like we were all going insane like day by day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. People using social media in lockdown, I think it was really important that everyone was staying connected, and were like communicating, because at one point it was the only way people were communicating. I mean, in the UK now, it still is the only way people are communicating outside the household, because like we're in lockdown 3 now. But yeah, it was kind of like a way people could communicate and keep in touch with all of their friends, whether it was like simply through like Snapchat or text, or whether it was through Zoom and House Party. Like it was, yeah, I think it helped people's mental health quite a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I know you wrote about the social dilemma, and like that's all good and true, but like in times like this, like thank God we had social media.
Oh my
like
god, yeah.
I don't, would I be like finger painting like watercolors or something? I have no idea what I do during the day.
I know.
My dog would go on 10 walks a day. I don't.
And like we would literally have gone months without talking to anyone outside of like our household. I think
our parents.
Yeah, I think everyone would have gone like absolutely mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think social media does get a bashing, especially in like
Oh
things
yeah.
like the Social Dilemma, and just generally like it gets a lot of bashing about mental health. But I think it was very vital in
Yeah.
down, um,
Yeah. It's
definitely.
definitely just not like a one-sided thing, you know? Like you see in real life people doing things for social media, and that's like super embarrassing. Like there's this account called Influencers in the Wild where they like capture images of influencers like doing wild things, like so they can post it on Instagram. Like they like go in the middle of the street and like set up a tripod, and they're that like glowy circle thing. What's that called?
A ring light.
Whatever. A ring light. Yeah.
I've got one already.
And they're just like, oh really?
That a bit too quickly, didn't I? Yeah, a ring light.
You're like ring light, ring light.
Ring
Yeah.
light.
I wanted one. I've always wanted one. Okay. But so you just see them and like it just looks ridiculous, and you're like so embarrassed for like the generation or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there are also like, I don't know if you saw that trend, like there are things on social media that like become real life that are like good and I love.
Yeah.
Like have you seen that trend where people like take a TikTok video and they're like in traffic, they roll down their window and they like tell the person next to them to roll down their window, and then when they do they like roll theirs back up.
Yeah.
And it's like no one gets mad, everyone just laughs because
I know.
that's a hilarious prank. That's like the perfect prank.
That's so
And
funny.
then and then there I remember we talked about this before, that guy who like just his whole TikTok is random acts of kindness to spread joy, and he gives flowers to like specifically usually like older women, and like their whole face just lights up, and it's just a really wholesome thing to see. And even like, because sometimes when I see like good acts on social media, I'm like, it's kind of weird that you're filming that, right?
Mm.
But in his like little monologue he always says, and the only reason I'm filming you while I give you these flowers is because I have a page where I like to show people like to spread acts of kindness, and like that makes me feel better.
Yeah, yeah, I have seen those. It's really sweet. Some of the women, or like, it's normally women. Like some of them, like proper
Yeah,
well up. Like
I
they're
know.
like it kind of just shows how little like acts of kindness people
I know.
do because they're so shocked. They're like, why?
They're like, really? You're like, for me?
Yeah, I know. It's so funny.
Oh, it's so cute. Yeah.
Through like COVID and stuff, people weren't just like messaging to stay in contact. They were also, a lot of like Instagram trends were going around. Someone would like tag someone in a memory, like their favorite memory, and then it would become like a train. So it would be like, oh, this is my favorite memory of the person that nominated me. Like I nominate so and so, and like it would be like, this is our favorite memory, and it would kind of like
Aww.
got to like relive like their favorite memories, which was really cute.
Yeah.
And also there was a lot of like linking to the Insta story like trends. There was a lot of charity stuff that was going on as well. Like in the UK especially, not especially, but in the UK specifically, we had like a run 5k, um donate £5 and nominate 5 people, and the £5 would go to the NHS charity.
Oh,
And
that's so cute.
such a big thing. Like I don't know like anyone that kind of didn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like every time for like a couple weeks, every time I went on Instagram, every single person's story was like, I nominate five, just around 5k, like I donated as well. Like it's really like, because obviously the NHS need every
Yeah.
like, any help they can get at the moment still. Like it was just so like lovely that everyone was kind
Yeah.
of involved.
Did you run the 5K?
I don't know about a run. I did the 5k.
I wouldn't have been able to do that. I'll be like, I'll donate.
Little stroll. People were putting people were like screenshotting their like Strava times and stuff, and like their routes was like,
Yeah.
they were like running like 5k in like 20 minutes, and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna put mine on. I think I'm just gonna
No.
like say I did it.
Yeah.
Like I did it, but I'm not gonna prove it because I don't want to
Yeah,
put time on there.
that's fair. Yeah. Nobody needs to see that. That's not gonna lift anyone's spirits. They wouldn't if
No,
they saw
show
mine,
off.
they'd be like, oh jeez.
Yeah, let's show off. So putting their times on
You okay?
them. Um,
Uh,
and another thing that the UK did for like charity, particularly Sir Captain Sir Thomas More, he walked around his garden over the course of like 24 days, and he was 99 at this point, and he was basically
wow.
his goal was to raise £1,000 to go to the NHS charity
That's so
for his
sweet.
100th birthday. And then on his 100th birthday, it like turned out he'd raised like millions for the NHS because
Oh,
so many people, because it was everywhere, like it was on like the
yeah.
national news, it was all over social media like Twitter and
That
Tumblr.
circulated to the US for sure. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and like it was so big, like apparently like 1.5 million people like donated just for him.
Wow.
I know, it was really big.
That's incredible.
I know, I
That's
know,
so cute.
I know. I think it's really good though. Like obviously COVID is such a like tragic, scary
Mhm.
thing, but it has like brought a lot of like kindness, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Whether that's through like charities or people donating to charity, or people kind of like keeping in contact with one another more, and like asking people if they're
Mhm.
okay more, and like I think that social media is such a vital part of being able to do that, because if we didn't
Yeah.
have social media we wouldn't be able to do that like at
Yeah.
all, which I think is really good.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's good for the like mental health awareness movement because I feel like people felt like more than ever that it was okay to express that they're having mental health issues because we are in like a crazy time, you know?
Yeah,
And I think that just destigmatized it like
yeah,
a lot faster than it would have without the pandemic. Like I saw on Mental Health Awareness Day, I saw way more people post about their own mental health issues on Instagram than I ever had
yeah.
any other year before.
It's kind of normalized talking about it,
Mhm.
like posting about it, because even like going into like the third lockdown, we've been in for like a week now, like even going into the third lockdown, there's been so many more like posts about the impact that this lockdown is going to have on mental health,
Yeah.
and like so many people are posting about it, so many people are like asking people if they're okay, like there's a lot more of that going around, because I think people know how tough like the first lockdown was, people know what's gonna kind of
Yeah.
so I think
Yeah, now the
it's so vital for that.
yeah, the novelty of like the first pandemic where we were all just like watching Tiger King and like Love is Blind and like baking bread, like
Yeah,
that's gone. That's over. No,
yeah.
there's none of that left, you know.
Everyone's so over it now.
I know. Yeah.
Everyone's just so over
That
it.
was fun. Those first few weeks of like real lockdown and quarantine, those were fun. I gotta say,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
entertainment wise,
yeah.
social media, like people are just so
People were like
funny.
in high spirits and like
Yeah.
well, not high,
Like, we're
not
gonna
like
get
as
over
high
this.
spirits as they possibly could be about like COVID or whatever, but people were in high spirits about kind of being at home, and we're like, oh, like we're just gonna make the most of it, like it'll be done in a
Yeah.
month or so.
Yeah, I'm gonna take online classes. I'm gonna learn how to needlepoint, all
You
this.
know,
That's fun.
like all this, like everyone, I feel like also in the first lockdown, me and my friends are like doing all of these like Zoom like parties, like
Oh yeah,
and like having
happy hours or
a
whatever.
laugh. And this lockdown, no
Yeah,
one's even mentioned it because everyone's
yeah,
so over it.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
no one has the energy to have another like Zoom party or
I
anything,
know.
do another Zoom quiz. Like everyone's so
Yeah.
over it now.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, I definitely think that social media in 2020 was definitely used for a lot of good. I mean, as well,
Yeah.
but definitely a lot of good. Also, with like because we were all inside, no one could like go out and meet new people, I guess, romantically. And I feel like online dating definitely picked up, whether it was through like Tinder or just like through social media generally. And a lot of like people were doing like Zoom dates and like social distancing dates and stuff, and I definitely think that it was like I've heard from like a lot of my friends and stuff that were doing it, not even just my friends, just even on TikTok, like I swear like my whole main source is TikTok, but yeah, a lot of TikTok like people were saying that having like the COVID and online dating and not being able to like be in contact physically with one another kind of made people like each other for personality a lot more rather than like physically, which I think's definitely something that our generation need to like, especially on
Yeah.
the initial like getting to know each other. I think our generation definitely need to like focus more on personality rather than looks, especially when it comes to social media normally. So I think that online dating definitely picked up and was like positive throughout COVID.
Yeah, I agree. I think it like you could not, the apps like were so overrun by like hookup culture,
Yeah.
they call, and like there you cannot, that was not sustainable
No.
throughout the pandemics, and like hookup culture, like yeah, like it stunk. If I was a girl like dating and going on the apps during like these socially distanced dates, I think I'd feel like a little safer because you have to be in a like a park where
Yeah.
other people are, and there's no pressure to engage in anything physical because you can't legally.
And like it's just like people actually just had to talk and get to know each other,
Yeah,
rather than just see someone like for every appealing physical thing that they had going for them and just didn't get to know people.
Yeah,
That was good. That was all like that all came from the fact people were meeting on social media. And yeah, I think that was quite good.
Yeah, definitely.
You got anything else?
I don't think I do.
Okay, that's fine.
I guess that's it.